It's Japanese tradition to bow as a formal traditional greeting. Japanese culture is one that's steeped in tradition. The symbol behind me stands for harmony, which is one of the key values in Japanese society. You may be asking yourself, however, why is this important? My name is Tabitha Floyd, and I wanted to talk to you today about many of the opportunities and challenges of doing business in a foreign environment, specifically in Japan. In my study of business communications, I've learned that business is about relationships. As the world's third largest economy with a pivotal position in global trade, Japan is a frequent foreign business partner among many U.S. companies. To build successful relationships in Japan, U.S. companies should understand the fundamentals of Japanese people, culture, and customs that have a direct impact on business practices. I've researched a great deal about Japanese business practices and wanted to share with you today what I've learned. First, we're going to talk about the Japanese culture, the people and customs, and how they differ from those here in the United States. Then we'll discuss a few tips that can help you bridge the cultural gaps to establish successful relationships with Japanese business people. And finally, we'll take a more in-depth look at the specific business opportunities in Japan and explore some of the reasons you may want to consider expanding your business there. So let's begin. Business etiquette in Japan is very different from that in America. When comparing the cultures of the United States and Japan, the key difference is that Japan is considered a high context culture, whereas the U.S. is a low context culture. The determination of a high context culture or low context culture description is based upon the context of messages in the routine communications. Americans tend to be very direct in our communications. We say what we mean and mean what we say. We also tend to get the niceties out of the way before we begin any business. And then once we do that, we're straight to business. We're also very informal in our business interactions. And in U.S. business practices, it's every man for himself. So we focus on the individual rather than the team effort. In contrast, in high context cultures such as the Japanese, they have more indirect communication. More is said with fewer words. For example, Japanese people will almost never be as direct as Americans to say no to anything. Instead, they will give nonverbal cues that you have to be in tune to listen to. Instead of saying no, they may say it's under consideration. Another primary difference is the level of formality in the business. With a strong sense of tradition and history, the formal greeting in Japan, as we've already discussed, is a traditional bow instead of a handshake. In Japanese business relations, it's actually considered impolite to introduce yourself. You should wait to be introduced. And as we've seen in American cultures, being direct is almost seen as a sign of confidence. The Japanese prefer to be approached socially and that time be taken to get to know them before conducting business. Confucianism, Buddhism, and other traditional and modern Japanese religions emphasize that not only the individuals, but also groups have their own spirit, which is connected to the ultimate reality. Japanese value the group over the individual. They may even be embarrassed or offended if you provide individual recognition. So now that you understand a few of the cultural differences and influences on Japanese business relationships, you'll be much better positioned to build successful business relationships with them. Just keep in mind these few tips. Be patient. Patience is a must when dealing with the Japanese. Allow them the time that they need to conduct their business on their terms. Know that it may take several meetings before they're even willing to do business with you. Respect tradition and customs. Japanese people will respect you more if you respect their culture and customs. Even attempting to learn a few phrases in Japanese will be a sign of respect. Study their customs. Remove your shoes when entering a Japanese home. Wait to be seated until the eldest or honored guest is seated. Understanding these customs will make you more comfortable and show respect with your Japanese counterparts. Always give a gift. As a token of your esteem, present it to the most senior person at the end of the meeting. The most senior Japanese person will often be seated the farthest away from the door. And remember, it's okay to make mistakes. The Japanese understand that it's very difficult for foreigners to work in Japan. Mistakes are allowed as long as genuine respect is shown at all times. Starting a business in Japan is filled with myths and legends of impenetrable market share, regimented business regulation, and precision-like business etiquette that scare away a majority of entrepreneurs. However, as we've discussed, if you're prepared to understand basic Japanese business etiquette, work hard and be disciplined, you will enjoy the rewards of the world's third largest economy. So let's take a look at some of these opportunities. First, the market size. The Japanese market size is one of its most appealing attributes. With over 127 million consumers and a growing gross domestic product, Japan has enormous market potential. Secondly, numerous investor incentives, from governmental support through programs such as JETRO, the Japanese External Trade Organization that works to promote mutual trade and investment between Japan and the rest of the world, to other numerous corporate tax incentives and foreign access zones that have been established to promote import businesses and attract foreign capital. All can be appealing reasons to conduct business in Japan. And the third is U.S. subsidies. Following the earthquake and tsunami in 2011, there are initiatives out of Washington to support the rebuilding of Japan. The Innovation Center Establishment Assistance Program has been established to support the implementation of subsidies to be granted to companies that provide materials, labor, and research and development to help rebuild the eastern corridors of Japan. All of these combine to help make Japan a very appealing market potential for the U.S. companies that are seeking to do global business abroad. So in conclusion, it may be a daunting task to consider entering the global marketplace. However, for those willing to embrace a polycentric marketing strategy and learn about the cultures and customs that drive business practices in foreign nations, the opportunities are limitless. The key to success in any business venture, as I've said again and again, is building relationships.